he's basically thrown out and banished to the countryside where he will live in Norfolk.
Prince Andrew never really leaves the news, but there's been a sort of tsunami of coverage over the last couple of weeks.
Buckingham Palace says that King Charles has started the process to strip Prince Andrew of his title.
King Charles has begun stripping his brother Andrew of his titles, including Prince. He has also been told to leave his royal residence.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has been stripped of the last of his royal titles in a final blow for the former royal.
Many questions about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's finances emerging over the last 12 months.
The crown jewels of scandal just got heavier. In a move that shocked even seasoned royal watchers, King Charles has formally stripped his brother of one of Britain's most prestigious honours, and that's just the beginning of this extraordinary story. At precisely midday today, the London Gazette, the United Kingdom's official journal of public record, published an announcement that sent ripples through the establishment. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has been formally removed from the Order of the Garter, the oldest and most noble order of chivalry in Britain. This honour, bestowed upon him by the late Queen Elizabeth in 2006, placed him alongside figures like Sir Tony Blair and Andrew Lloyd Webber. Now, his name has been officially erased from the register. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. While the palace was managing this delicate stripping of honours, another bombshell was quietly detonating behind the scenes at Royal Lodge. An internal inspection on November the 12th has revealed something that nobody saw coming. The 30-bedroom mansion is in such poor condition that Andrew may walk away with absolutely nothing. Not a single pound of the nearly £500,000 compensation he was once thought to be owed.
It just proves that the York brand is totally toxic.
It's the loss of the privilege that goes along with a royal title. That's really the most significant one, is the loss of his home. So
he's living in disgrace. He was stripped of his royal duties, and part of that is he's not really being paid by the monarchy anymore because he doesn't complete any royal duty.
Andrew came under scrutiny over his contacts to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Pressure really mounting up on Prince Andrew, having already given up the use of his royal titles.
Andrew Windsor is spending his last weeks at Royal Lodge ranting to himself.
The formal wording from the King's directive was brutally clear. The appointment of Andrew Albert Christian Edward Mountbatten Windsor to be a knight companion of the most noble order of the Garter shall be cancelled and annulled. But this ceremonial blow pales in comparison to what inspectors found when they finally gained access to Royal Lodge. For 2 decades, Andrew has occupied one of the most prestigious properties on the Windsor estate. The arrangement seemed generous. He paid £8.5 million up front for a 75-year lease back in 2003, avoiding the annual rent of £260,000. The only technical fee was 1 peppercorn per year, and only if requested. At the time, the Crown Estate confirmed these terms were fair and aligned with market practice. So how did we arrive at a point where this historic property, with its formal gardens, staff quarters, and centuries of royal heritage, is now described as suffering from significant dilapidations? The Crown Estate's letter to MPs pulled no punches. They stated that, in all likelihood, Andrew will receive no compensation whatsoever for surrendering the lease early. This represents a staggering reversal of fortune. Under the original lease terms, Andrew could have claimed compensation if he returned the property in good condition. Instead, officials found the opposite. A mansion that has deteriorated so badly over 20 years that it may take months of repairs before anyone else can even consider moving in. The timing of these revelations is particularly brutal. On the same day Andrew lost his Order of the Garter membership, he was also stripped of his Knight Grand Cross of the Royal Victorian Order, the highest order of knighthood within the UK. King Charles has essentially removed every honour within his power to revoke, stopping only at the dukedom itself, which would require an Act of Parliament to remove. But let's return to the mystery at Royal Lodge. How does a property under the care of a senior royal fall into such disrepair? The answer appears to lie in a perfect storm of financial pressure and deferred maintenance. Sources suggest that as Andrew's circumstances changed, following various scandals, the money for proper upkeep simply wasn't there. Essential repairs were postponed, routine maintenance was scaled back, and slowly but surely, one of Windsor's grandest homes began to crumble from within.
He's entitled to do what he wants, and maybe there's some plausible explanation.
I think with the King removing all of Andrew's titles,
and all his honours.
The affairs of the royal family tells you that we are living in quite bizarre time.
This is full disgrace and pretty much unprecedented as far as we can see.
The layers of duplicity and shallowness, this is a new low.
There is a no-holds-barred, warts and all tell-all story waiting to be shared with the world.
The monthly running costs for Royal Lodge are eye-watering. Conservative estimates place the minimum upkeep at well above £30,000 per month. That figure includes staff wages, insurance, security, and the enormous heating bills for a 30-bedroom property. During winter months, insiders suggest the real costs climb even higher. When you're hemorrhaging that kind of money every month without the income to match, something has to give. The Crown Estate's inspection findings have completely transformed the dynamics of Andrew's departure. Previously, there was talk of negotiated settlements, compensation packages, and careful legal maneuvering around the lease terms. Now, with the property in such poor condition, Andrew has lost his strongest bargaining chip. He cannot claim he's returning the property in good condition when inspectors have already documented extensive dilapidations. This development has also clarified why King Charles has been so determined to resolve the Royal Lodge situation quickly. It's not just about removing Andrew from a prestigious property, it's about preventing further deterioration of a historic asset. Every month Andrew remains, the property potentially declines further, making eventual repairs more complex and costly. The timeline for Andrew's departure remains frustratingly unclear, though the inspection results have certainly added urgency. Some sources suggest he could be out by late February, once alternative accommodation is prepared. Others point to the lease terms that technically allow him to remain until October 30th, 2026. Most observers believe the truth lies somewhere in between. Andrew knows the game is up, but he's likely to extract every possible concession before departing. What makes this situation particularly poignant is the contrast with Royal Lodge's glorious past. This was once home to the Queen Mother, a property that hosted garden parties and royal gatherings, a symbol of privilege and prestige. Now it stands as a monument to Andrew's fall from grace, neglected, deteriorating, and about to be reclaimed by the Crown Estate for extensive repairs. The formal notice has been served for Andrew to surrender the lease and relocate to alternative private accommodation, likely on the Sandringham estate.
Ever-evolving soap opera, that is, of course, what's happening over at Royal Lodge.
King Charles is battling with Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson to convince the Yorks to move out of the Royal Lodge.
Putting pressure on Prince Andrew to leave Royal Lodge.
King Charles is very keen to move Andrew and his ex-wife Fergie on. He doesn't want them to live there anymore.
To be simply Andrew Mountbatten Windsor with no letters after his name, no styles before his name, and to lose those military connections as well will really sting.
This is a prince who had, until all this stuff happened, he was decorated for his military career.
His ex-wife Sarah Ferguson, who has also lost her Duchess of York title, is reportedly making separate living arrangements. The fairy tale that began when they moved into Royal Lodge as Duke and Duchess has ended in separate accommodations and stripped titles. For the Crown Estate, the inspection findings simplify their path forward. They can now proceed with repossessing the property without concerns about compensation claims. Once Andrew hands over the keys, they'll begin a comprehensive assessment of exactly what needs repairing. Given the age of the building, nearly 2 centuries old, and the reported deterioration, this could involve everything from roof work to plumbing, electrical systems to structural repairs. The broader royal family is watching this unfold with a mixture of relief and concern. Relief that the long-running Royal Lodge saga may finally be reaching its conclusion. Concern about what this means for other royal properties and the precedent it sets for future arrangements. King Charles has made it clear that the days of unlimited royal privilege are over, even for his own brother. What strikes many observers is how comprehensively Andrew's world has collapsed, from senior working royal to persona non grata, from Knight of the Garter to having his name erased from the register, from comfortable residence at Royal Lodge to haggling over moving dates while the property crumbles around him. It's a fall from grace that would seem melodramatic if it weren't documented in the official records of the London Gazette. The financial implications extend beyond just the lost compensation. Andrew remains responsible for Royal Lodge's upkeep until he leaves, meaning those 30,000 plus monthly bills keep arriving. With his royal patronages gone, his military titles removed, and his public role eliminated, the sources of income to cover such expenses have largely evaporated. It's a financial squeeze that grows tighter with each passing month. As this saga moves toward its conclusion, several questions remain. Will Andrew attempt to use the full notice period under his lease, potentially staying into 2026? Or will the combination of financial pressure, deteriorating conditions, and royal displeasure force an earlier exit? The smart money suggests he'll leave sooner rather than later, but Andrew has surprised observers before with his tenacity in clinging to the trappings of royal life. The Crown Estate has played this masterfully. By conducting the inspection and immediately sharing the findings with Parliament, they've created public pressure for a swift resolution. They've also protected themselves against any future claims by documenting the property's condition before Andrew's departure. When the eventual handover occurs, there will be no disputes about who was responsible for the dilapidations. For King Charles, today's formal stripping of honours represents both an ending and a beginning. An ending to any pretense that Andrew might somehow return to public life. A beginning of a new era where royal privilege comes with clear responsibilities and consequences. The message to other royals is unmistakable. Maintain your properties, honour your obligations, or face the consequences. The tragedy of Royal Lodge is that it need never have come to this. Had Andrew maintained the property properly, he might have left with dignity and compensation. Instead, he faces eviction from a deteriorating mansion, stripped of his honours, with nothing to show for 20 years of residency except unpaid maintenance bills and a tarnished reputation. As winter sets in and those heating bills climb ever higher, the pressure on Andrew will only intensify. Each month of delay costs money he increasingly doesn't have, while the property he's responsible for continues its decline. It's a situation that benefits nobody. Not Andrew, not the Crown Estate, and certainly not the historic Royal Lodge itself. The question now is not whether Andrew will leave Royal Lodge, but when and in what circumstances. Will he negotiate a face-saving early departure, or will he be forced out when the financial pressure becomes unbearable? Either way, the man who once stood proudly in his Order of the Garter Regalia will leave Royal Lodge with neither compensation nor honour. The inspection report has revealed the truth behind the palace walls, a once grand property allowed to deteriorate while its occupant clung desperately to past privileges. It's a metaphor for Andrew's entire fall from grace, and a reminder that even royal privilege has its limits. That's it for today, folks. See you in the next video.